What's going on, world? Welcome to Clearing the Wreckage podcast. It's the voice and your host, Kareem A. Rashid. Yes, and once again, I don't know what you got going on. You could be on the toilet, or you could be getting off the toilet. Hell, for all I know, you could be wiping your tushy. But all I know is that I'm ready, and so I hope that you're ready to clear the wreckage. Yes, indeed. What's going on with you today, my peeps? Let's go ahead and get started right away. You already know what time it is. What's up? Wreckage clearing community, my wreckage clearers, we are back. And excuse me, I had to clear my throat. I'm gonna leave that there though, no editing. We are back, and I wanted to share something with you because you hear me on every episode. At the end, I always leave you with take some time to look inside so that the wreckage can begin to clear. And this is one of the reasons for that, because I learned how to practice rigorous honesty. And yes, that is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about practicing rigorous honesty. Well, why, Kareem, that we're talking about that? Why? Because this is vital and this is key, not only for personal growth and self-development, this is also a key aspect of recovery. This is a key aspect of your emotional well-being. This is a key aspect to life in general as a mature adult. If you're still a kid, then you're probably doing kid things. You're probably walking around lying. But you can still be a kid in your mind as an adult. I'm already starting to preach. We just started this episode. Ooh, don't let me start with y'all now. But let me tell you a story, one that maybe you might be able to relate to, or maybe not. But I was the youngest, okay, and you guys probably already know this, and I was the so-called the baby of the family. 3 girls, 2 boys, as a little kid who was seen as the one who could not do anything wrong. Oh, that's the baby of the family. Oh, he's so precious. He's such an angel. Yep. I protected that image at all costs. Yeah, okay, that's how y'all see me. That's how it's gonna be then. How many of us live like that? Be honest. We are practicing rigorous honesty today, and you probably have taken that with you, like me, throughout the course of your life. Oh man, I gotta protect this image. Everybody sees me as an angel, goody two-shoes, perfect little baby, angel, soft angel. So that's how I was looked at. And I remember one time I lied about something. Oh man, I got my butt tore up. I lied to my dad after he asked me a simple question. All I had to do was answer yes. Instead, I said, no, I didn't. And that got me in deep trouble. But most of us did that though, right? Most of us did that. We didn't want to get in trouble, though. That was the whole point of us lying. We thought lying would save us. Yes. We thought lying would free us. Yes. We thought lying would keep us from trouble and out of trouble. Little did we know that it would do nothing but create more havoc, more trouble, more pain. And little did I know that it would create more pain and trouble than I could ever expect. Because I expected if I lie, I will get away with this. And who taught us that? Who taught me that? You know, when we're kids, we don't know anything. We just come out the womb, we're fresh, naked, pure. We like to run around naked. Once the pamper comes off, we run around free. That right there is the state that we should remain in as adults. Naked. Free. But don't let me start preaching to you, though. But who taught me that, though? Where did I even learn this type of behavior? How did I even learn how to lie? So as kids, we are like little sponges. We soak up every single thing that we hear, and we soak up every single thing that we see, right? That is just the way that it is. We have to be taught. And a lot of the things that we learn are caught, not taught, because we are catching and we are seeing with our very eyes what others are doing, and we are hearing what others are saying, and we're like, oh, well, I'll just do that. So if we saw our siblings lie and it looked like they got away with it, then we learned that behavior. If we saw it on TV, if we saw it from, our peers in school, right? I can go on and on. If we saw it from our teachers, if we saw it from whoever we saw it from, we were influenced. We were soaking things up like little sponges. Right? So, we learned how to, if we saw somebody cheating on a test and they still passed, we were like, oh, I can just do that. I don't have to study. I'll just look across at somebody else's desk at their paper. Hey, oh, let me put that down. That might be the correct answer. Come on. I know you relate to this. I know I am not the only one that cheated on a test. I know I'm not the only one that tried to be the little teacher's pet because I was goody two-shoes in everybody's eyes, remember? So, but we also learn this from society. Society has conditioned us to lie. Society not only conditions us to lie, it advertises lies all day, every day, on the radio, on the TV, on the internet, social media. It advertises lies. If you do this, this will happen. Lie. Don't let me start talking about that, because this episode ain't about that. We might need to have an episode one day about how we have been so conditioned to lie by this society. Oh, man, go to school, go to college, get your degree, you'll land a job, retire in 30 years. This is the American dream. And you're successful. Lie. Because they're not telling you that your Social Security income is going to be horrible. You're barely going to be able to live off of retirement. Well, guess I got to come out of retirement and start working again. Yeah. A big, fat, bold lie. Anyway, so as kids, we also mimic behavior, don't we? We see someone doing something and we're like, oh, I'll do that. We see somebody on the monkey bars, and they're doing it. We're like, oh, I can do that too. And we do it. We see somebody climb a tree. We're like, oh, I can do that. We mimic behavior. So if you're like me, if you had older siblings, you followed them pretty much wherever they went and you did what they were doing. So lying starts early. So let me just give this as a prerequisite for this episode. Lying starts early. Deceit starts early. Even manipulation starts early. For me, it did, at least as a kid, right? I learned that if I threw a temper tantrum at just the right time, that right moment, the right amount of temper, that I may just get what I want. Right? My mother was telling me no. Right now, she was telling me no. But if I just keep asking, maybe she'll cave. Maybe she'll give in. I know you did that. I know I'm not the only one that did that. Oh, wait, if I say please 10 times in a row, maybe I'll still get what I want. If I say please with a certain tone inflection and fake cry, maybe I'll just get what I want. If I pull on the tail end of her shirt while we're in the grocery store enough times, Ma, if I say her name over and over, Mom, if I say Mommy instead of Mom, I may just get what I want. Come on now. I know I'm not the only one that did this as a kid. Go back and reminisce on your childhood. You started lying at a very early age. You started manipulating at a very early age. You started deceiving people at a very early age. You started cheating at a very early age. You started stealing at a very early age. I used to go to the store and I took so much candy from the store and walk out. You learned this behavior because someone else did it and you thought, oh, they are getting away with it, then I can do it too. My point is that these are the things that we learned. This is behavior that was learned. Now we must unlearn it and we must grow up. We must become adults. And as a mature adult, you know that lying or deceiving or cheating or manipulating, it's not how a mature adult behaves. You know that. It is childish. Let me just keep it 100 with you. It is childish. You are still being a kid if you are still walking around lying and deceiving and cheating and manipulating. You're a freaking kid in an adult body. Grow up. My friends, it is time to put away childish ways and stop lying and tell the God honest truth. Nothing but the truth. So be it. You stand before a judge, you got to put your hand on that Bible and you say, I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Well, it's time for you to do that every single day. It is time to practice rigorous honesty. It's time to commit to being truthful with yourself, with others, even when it's difficult or uncomfortable. That is what rigorous honesty means. So it's also time to become comfortable in your own skin, to where you desire the truth. You desire justice. You desire what is right. No matter the consequences, no matter the outcome, no matter how someone looks at you, you desire righteousness. You desire what is right, what is pure, what is the truth. That's what you desire. It's time. Because we want the truth for ourselves and we want it for others. That is what this podcast is about. We are about taking the time to look inside so that we can search inside to find the truth. So it is time to clear the wreckage. And for me, folks, back then in 2016, you know, where the journey starts in my sobriety and it still remains in effect today, it's time each day that I desire to practice rigorous honesty. I am committed to being truthful. I am no longer going to lie. I know that I will make a mistake and I will probably tell a lie, but I am here, my friends, to correct that lie immediately. Yes. Now, this conversation may sound a little bit familiar with you. That's because it is similar to the 4A's: awareness, acknowledging, admitting, and then acceptance, right? We went over this before. Everything that we talk about, it may sound like a repeat, but we're just going to go a little bit deeper, right? Because we got to dig deep sometimes, a little bit more underneath the surface in order to clear the wreckage. Yes. So this is included, those 4A's is included in practicing rigorous honesty. And the first thing that I had to do was, after becoming aware of the truth, right, I had to acknowledge the hard ones. I had to acknowledge those hard truths. Practicing rigorous honesty involves acknowledging hard truths, accepting the unpleasant realities of your life and your actions without any denial, without justification or minimization, right? So for me back then, folks, it was, hey, I am powerless over alcohol and drugs, and I have screwed up my life. That was rigorous honesty for me, right? And because of my powerlessness, let's go deeper. This is how it goes. This is practicing rigorous honesty. And because of my powerlessness over alcohol and drugs, I became senseless, selfish, a manipulating lying thief, a lying sack of potatoes, a cheater, a misfit, a misbehaving teenager, a immature adult. I became irresponsible, heartless. I was a person who was filled with fear, and I wanted acceptance. And I also became a chameleon, or a pretender, as I would like to call it, in order to be liked, to be accepted. I was reckless. I drove drunk. I was an angry person. I fought a lot. I was resentful at myself and everyone else. No, alcohol does not justify my actions. This is who I became due to my alcoholism, due to the fact that when I drink, this is who I become entirely. This was already inside of me, though. It was already learned behavior. Catch my drift? It was already learned behavior, things that I was already learning from other people, from society, from the world, from my peers. The alcohol and drugs just brought it out of me even more and made it rise to the surface. That, my friends, right there that I just shared with you, is me practicing rigorous honesty with you. What does rigor, or what does rigorous mean, Kareem? Y'all always ask me that question on every episode. The word rigorous simply means severely accurate or exact. So in order for me to recover from drugs and alcohols, I had to, and still have to, be rigorously honest. I have to be severely accurate and exactly honest. Exactly honest. That means no white lies. That means no half-truths. That's what that means. And this, my friends, is a cornerstone of recovery. Now, if you're not like me and you're listening to this and you're not in recovery and you're not in a 12-step program, that's fine, because I think personally this is a key to personal growth and development, and it is also a key to freedom. This type of honesty, my friends, starts from within. That is why on every episode I say take the time to look inside so that the wreckage can begin to clear. You cannot know anything about yourself until you look inward. Whoo! 9 times out of 10, you got people all throughout your life telling you crap about yourself. Telling you all these things about yourself, right? They might be telling you some good things about yourself, and they may be telling you some bad things about yourself. And those bad things, you're probably in denial and you don't want to hear it. You're like, whatever, that's not me. But they're telling you these things. But because you don't want to take the time to look inside, the wreckage will always be there. Hold on now. Don't let me start preaching to you. The wreckage will always be there until you take the time to look inside. This type of honesty starts from within, a thorough and honest inventory of not only your thoughts, but your feelings, your beliefs, your motives, and I'll even add on your perceptions and your viewpoints, because our perceptions and our viewpoints are tainted and they're screwed up. This may even mean becoming a little uncomfortable to receive comfort looking at the ugly and or the wreckage, as I would say, and clearing it out. Now, let me just state to you that this is a process. There will always still be scraps. There will always still be leftover wreckage after the accident scene. Can't get it all up in one day. This, my friends, takes commitment. But are you willing to grow? Are you willing to commit to being rigorously honest so that you can receive freedom? So in a 12-step program, right, this is vital and important. It is even so important that in the literature, it even states, and I'm going to paraphrase this, that those who do not recover are the ones who are incapable of being honest with themselves. And that's a paraphrase because it goes a little bit deeper than that. You will not, I'll take it even deeper. You will not grow. You will always be the same person, and you will be stuck in this life in bondage if you are incapable of being honest with yourself. You won't even grow in your own relationship with yourself, which is the most important, and you will have the worst relationships with people if you continue to be incapable of practicing rigorous honesty. My friends, I am sharing this with you, my experience with you and my journey with you, so that you can take a little bit of this experience from me and you can add a little bit of this into your life and start practicing it so that you can develop a healthy relationship with yourself and a healthy relationship with other people. Ultimately, so that you can grow and evolve and become a mature adult, and you can become free, and you can fly like a butterfly, like I am right now. Yes. This also involves accountability, my friends. You have to learn how to take responsibility for your own actions. There's so many of us out there that don't want to take responsibility for our own actions. I was one of them. I was one of them. Let me tell you, I was one of those people. I used to steal from people all the time. And I will not admit it. Nope, it wasn't me. It was Joe over there. Yes. Yes. So accountability for your thoughts, your actions, properly admitting it when you're wrong, properly. Don't wait till 2 months down the road and be like, hey, I'm so sorry for what I did 2 months ago or for what I said 2 months ago. Properly admit it when you are wrong, to yourself, to others, and to God. This, my friends, is an active effort to correct dishonesty, to rectify it as soon as it happens. Let me tell you a little story about this. All right? So I was learning how to be honest. I used to lie all the time. To the point where it just rolled off my tongue. I had to know these certain things about myself, but I didn't. I didn't know it about myself. I didn't know that. So one time I lied to one of my friends We were on the phone, and he asked me a question, and I don't even remember what I said, but it was a complete lie. You know what I did? I called him back, and I said, hey, man, I'm sorry. I just lied to you. That's not accurate. This is the truth. I didn't care about how he was going to look at me, if he was going to judge me. I was doing it for myself because I was learning how to be honest. You may even have to take those small, simple steps just like that. And those small, simple steps of practicing rigorous honesty, that's what it's all about. Actively making an effort to correct it or rectify it as soon as it happens. You tell a lie, be like, hey, I'm sorry, I just lied. That's not accurate. Here's the truth. And just admit it. The problem is we think that everybody is going to look at us different. At least that's what I did. Remember, I was the little baby of the family. I was the angel. I was the one that will always look innocent, that will always look cute, that will always have the big cheeks that they can pinch, that would just be perfect, right? So I wanted to uphold that image, not only inside the household or not only to all of my family members and extended family. This identity was going to go with me throughout my life. I am the perfect little kid. Yes, that is how you were supposed to see Kareem A. Rashid. Yeah, but I had to back to that. But I had to know. I had to know these certain things about myself, y'all. And truthfully, I didn't, such as lying. So lying became natural. It rolled off the tongue. It was a default behavior. Manipulation, it became natural. I did this as a kid, and so I knew how to manipulate. Master manipulator. I knew how to manipulate every situation. I knew how to manipulate you. I knew how to manipulate my girlfriends. I knew how to manipulate everybody. And then deceit became natural. As with stealing and cheating, all of that became natural. So this practice also means living with integrity. So that way your values, your actions, your words, they all align in one accord with each other. An example would simply be if you find a wallet on the ground outside of the store or in the store, would you return it or turn it in? So that is practicing rigorous honesty. That is living with integrity is part of it. You find a wallet, turn it in. Hey, I found this on the floor. I don't know whose on it is, but hey, here you go. Take it to customer service. Take it wherever. Here you are. But you probably will open the wallet, look in it, take the cash out, and be like, and then turn it in. Hey, I found this. You even took all the money out. Because your nature, hear me when I say this now, it was a default behavior because you learned this as a kiddo. Your default behavior was like, oh, look in the wallet first. See if there's any cash. That's what you heard in your mind. Hey, man, you just got to turn it. Look in there. See if there's any cash. Get the cash out first. And then say, and lie. Say, oh, I found this on the ground. Oh, and then lie again. I didn't open it or anything. Here you go. I don't know whose on it belongs to. Yeah, so with lying, if you don't notice this about yourself, when you tell one lie, you have to continue to tell more lies and more lies and more lies. You create a whole storyline, a whole fictional storyline. You might as well become an author and write a whole freaking novel about your life filled with lies. Nobody will know if you're lying or telling the truth because you just been lying the whole time. You'll be a best-selling fictional author. Probably what I... Oh, my gosh. Don't let me start with y'all. Don't let me start, man. Another example would be something as simple as when you leave the grocery store and you have a cart filled with groceries and you put those groceries in your car, return the cart back to its designated area. Don't leave the cart right there by your car or in the parking lot. So then when you leave out the parking lot, somebody wants to park in that parking space, your cart is right there. You see how lying and living without integrity and living without rigorous honesty affects everyone around you. Affects all of your relationships. So the other person that's pulling in is like, dang, I can't even pull into this parking spot. I got to go to another parking spot, or I have to take my time and get out of my car, remove the shopping cart that's in my way, and then park. It affects every person. Lying, deceit, stealing, cheating affects every person. So that's just an example of living with integrity. So practicing this also means being able to communicate clearly and being able to communicate with empathy, right? Just exactly what I'm doing right now. Sharing my truth in a respectful and a considerate manner, being considerate of other people's feelings. Being considerate, having empathy, but don't be too considerate. Do not overthink other people's feelings, because then you will start to lie. Oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings, so I'm not going to say this. That's lying. Or that's omitting the truth. A lot of people don't see that as lying. They go, I'm not lying. That's called being deceitful. So one of the other things in practicing rigorous honesty is I had to learn how to stop telling white lies, which, by the way, there's no such thing as a white lie. Lying is lying. I had to learn how to stop telling those little, what I found or what I thought were little lies. I had to learn how to stop saying those things. I had to realize about myself that these lies roll off of my tongue. Someone asked me a question, whatever I'm about to say is probably going to be a lie. I had to learn that about myself. Someone just asked you a question. It's a yes or no answer. If you don't say yes or no, you are going to lie, Kareem. I had to learn it about myself. So sometimes it can be as simple as, rectifying this and learning how to practice rigorous honesty sometimes could just be you just answering the question with a yes or a no. I'll give you an example of how I tell white lies, how I lie to people. Let me give you an example. When someone asks me to do something for them, or if someone asks, hey, man, you want to hang out? Whatever, this really becomes natural because I want to be liked, I want acceptance, and I want approval from everyone. I know this about myself because I am in the business, folks, of practicing rigorous honesty. Right? It starts within. I learned this about myself. I was like, oh, man, I learned this behavior. This is just what I naturally do. So if someone asks me to do something or hang out, whatever they're asking me to do, they could be like, hey, man, can you help me move? You know what? Instead of just saying no, I'll be like, well, I don't know. Well, I have this to do or that to do when I ain't got nothing going on. Nothing. Or instead of just saying, nah, man, I can't do it. I'm pretty tired. I need to take a nap. I won't say that. I'll be like, man, I don't know. Let me check my schedule. done that before. I know I'm not the only one. You've done that before. It is time to just let your yes be your yes and your no be your no. Someone very, very awesome said that one time. So it all starts on the inside, my friend. Stop telling white lies. Stop stealing. Stop cheating. Starts on the inside with self-examination, doing a fearless, searching moral inventory. Search yourself. Search yourself. Journal if you need to. Sit quietly to become aware. We've talked about this before. Own your actions. Communicate your limits or your needs, or, in other words, your boundaries. So if I'm not able to do something for somebody at that present time, that's what I need to say. Hey, man, I cannot do it right now for you. And that's it. And if I say, let me get back to you, that means, here's the integrity part, that means I need to get back to that person. Why say that to somebody if you're not going to get back to them? Here's another example of lying, by the way. And I'm just going to throw this out there because we do this to people a lot because social media and the internet and everything in society has taught us that this is okay to do. To me, it is not okay. It's not okay. People have said no response is a response. Yeah, no response is a response, and no response is a very unhealthy response. So let's talk about ghosting, shall we? Let's talk about ghosting. We all do it. We all disappear. We all ghost people because now we have this technology to where if someone sends us a text message, we do not have to respond right away. Or we can simply just look at that text message, leave them on red, and be like, I'm not responding to this person. Now, don't get me wrong. You have that option, but why not? Hear me. Why not just respond with the truth? Why not? Why not just practice rigorous honesty? You know why? Because you learned as a kid how to lie because you didn't want to get in trouble. You didn't want to be judged. You didn't want to be looked at as the bad guy. You still wanted to be looked at as goody two-shoes, this perfect angel. That is how you wanted to be looked at. So you still try to present that image. You still try to protect that image as you go about your day. Even when somebody is trying to get a response out of you, they're texting you, they're asking you a question, or, whatever the case may be, and you're just like, I'm not going to respond because I don't want to deal with it. Oh, I'm scared. I might hurt their feelings. Get over yourself. You are not that important. Don't let me start preaching to you now. You're not that important. Who fell off the throne and made you God? You're not that important. And that's how I had to start looking at things like, man, I'm not that important. I'm important, but I'm not that important. Yes, I'm special, but I'm not that special. You catch my drift? So another way of practicing rigorous honesty is getting a mentor. We talked about this on one of my previous episodes. Or having a sponsor, like in recovery, you get a sponsor, you get an accountability partner, somebody, a trusted friend that you can share your journey with. Stop lying by correcting the small lies immediately. Practicing this builds an authentic relationship with who? With yourself. With yourself first. This is the freedom that I'm talking about, my friends. It builds an authentic relationship with yourself first, then with God, then with others. And lying all the time is so stressful. You don't want to live with this type of anxiety. That's why you're anxious all the time. That's why you're worried all the time, because you're sitting here, you're worried about what everybody thinks. Oh, well, let me lie. And then you tell a lie, and then you got to create a whole storyline, because you got to keep up with the lie. You got to keep up with it. I mean, there's been plenty of times in my life that I lied, and then I had to keep up with the lie. I had to create a whole fictional novel, a whole fictional narrative to give this other person so that they can believe me. I'm telling the truth. I promise I am telling you the truth, knowing that I am telling you a bold-faced lie. How ridiculous is that? How immature is that? It's so immature. And the only issue that I had was with myself. I did not accept myself. That's the issue that you have with yourself. You're judging yourself. So you're like, oh, I'm afraid of being judged. It's because you're judging yourself, because you know that you are doing something wrong. So, of course, the judgment is right there upon you. Do not judge, lest you shall be judged. That's what that means. Dude, judgment is already upon you because you're doing something wrong. And you know it. Practicing rigorous honesty. Slow down. Practicing rigorous honesty. Ooh, that's a tongue twister. It brings about the emotional freedom. Because let me tell you something. You are as sick as your secrets. And I will tell you the God honest truth and nothing but. Your secrets will kill you. You know, for how long I went trying to hide my alcohol and drug abuse? I hid it. And I thought I was hiding it so well, but I did so many things to hide what I was doing. And it was killing me. It was killing me. Not just the drugs that I was using or the alcohol. What was killing me was all the things I had to do to try to cover this up, because I am still what? Who am I to you? Oh, perfect little baby, perfect little angel. Look at those cheeks. I just want to pinch them. Oh, that's who I am to you. So I got to protect this image. Y'all don't hear me. Ooh, y'all don't hear me. This, my friends, will keep you stuck in slavery. It'll keep you stuck in bondage, and you will never be free. You'll never be free. And I'm talking about emotional freedom. I'm talking about mental freedom. I'm talking about mental clarity. I'm talking about spiritual freedom. I'm talking about becoming free and get out of this enslaved mentality. Yes. So by practicing rigorous honesty, this also builds up a resilience, a bounce back effect very easily, because you learn how to handle or cope with difficult situations in an effective manner, not escaping anymore. So the whole ghosting thing, escaping, or not responding, escaping, or hey, can you do this for me? Nah, well, I might, let me check my schedule. I'll get back to you, and not getting back to them, escaping. Instead of just facing the difficulty, facing the person, facing yourself, and just doing the right thing, you're an escapist because you learned this behavior. You learned this behavior, and that was my problem, and it still is at sometimes. I tell you, sometimes I still hear it. I still look within, and I'm like, I need somebody's approval. I want them to like me. Oh, I must be scared right now. I'm scared of what they're going to think of me. Oh, I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid of hurting someone's feelings. I'm afraid of judgment. That is why I want to lie to them, and that is why, or if I already did it, that is why I lied. Let me go ahead and rectify this situation. Let me correct this lie. Let me tell this person the God honest truth. You want to be true to yourself. That brings freedom. When you can walk around this earth and you can be true to yourself, not giving two rats turds about what somebody thinks of you, you're probably going to wonder sometimes and worry sometimes about what people think of you. I think that might be even a natural thing that we do as humans, but it will lessen and it will lessen and it will lessen over time, because when you become free and you start flying like a butterfly, you can give two rats turds of what somebody thinks about you. Man, I'm finna go to this leaf right here and I'm finna drink some nectar and then I'm gonna fly over here. I don't care. You become a butterfly. Anyway, so you got to be able to know these things about yourself. Got to be able to know. So do you even know these things? And I'm going to end it with these questions. Do you know your fears? Do you know your challenges? Do you know what brings about discomfort? Folks, this is about progress rather than perfection. So this is a everyday practice. And guess what? Practice makes perfect. Yes, it does. So until next time, and before I say this, we will probably talk about more of this next week. We'll probably go a little bit deeper into motives. Because I had to start asking myself, why am I doing this? As I just was describing to you a little bit. So we may go a little bit deeper in motive, or maybe not. I don't know what the future holds. I'll just see you next week. And until then, take some time to look inside so that the wreckage can begin to clear. Peace.